What is going on, guys? Oh, yes, I think, okay. She's syncing my audio. Thanks, babe. What is going on, guys? It's Jamil with Milmid Studios. Today, we're out in Bridgeland, here in Calgary, right next to Village Ice Cream. That's where we're going next. Today, I have the Canon EOS R3 with the Samyang 85.1.4 RF lens. And Emily here is holding the EF 85.1.2 with the adapter. Can you pull it out, babe? With the adapter for the EF to RF. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a bit of a comparison. Now, this is a beautiful lens. It's an f1.2 premium. Premium. So we're gonna see, and we're gonna kind of compare the pictures in post. So after we do a little shoot here, just kind of headshots and whatnot, I'll pull them up on Lightroom and we'll kind of look at the pictures in depth, and we'll kind of see what kind of quality we get. This one, it was new, was about a $3,000 lens Canadian. This right here is about $900 new. I got the second hand for $500, the Samyang 85.1.4. This is now discontinued, unfortunately, so I'm really happy that I was able to get my hands on one. Who knows, maybe the price will go up. But we'll put this over here. Thanks, babe. We'll get some headshots for you guys, do like a little shoot, and we'll go from there. Right now it's 11:48, so the sun is like really harsh, so we don't want to have like raccoon eyes or anything. Actually, that's kind of artsy right there. So we're gonna drop down to f1.4. I'm gonna go manual just so we can keep the same settings for both. So we're ISO 100, aperture's at f1.4, that's beautiful. And then the shutter speed right now is at 1/2000th of a second. Eye autofocus is on, and we're gonna go, baby. I'm gonna go for perfect exposure. 1, 2, 1. There we go. I'm gonna go some horizontal. 1, 2. Really nice. So we got 4 shots there at 1/2500th of a second, f1.4 with ISO of 100. So I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna put on the EF lens and then we'll compare them. We just came from the Stampede today. There was a parade, so if you guys haven't seen that video, I don't know which one will come out first, but be sure to check that out. If you guys want to see more content like this, comparisons, street photography, that kind of thing with the Canon EOS R, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Milmid Studios, and here on what do you call it? YouTube, that's it. Okay, so now we have the EF adapted 1.4. Yeah, right there should be good. Now this goes down to 1.2, but for the sake of consistency, I'm going to keep it at 1.4. Right here. Yeah. Automatically, I could tell the autofocus was very slow. It is an EF lens. Okay, here we go. We'll take 2, 1. That background is wild. 2, and then horizontal. We're keeping it at 1.4. This lens is gorgeous. Hold on, I'm gonna actually drop it to 1.2 just for this picture. Let's see if there's a comparison. We'll do a comparison to see. Baby, you're beautiful. Wow. Okay. They're both at 1.4, exactly the same settings, and the EF, like the Canon, is just brighter. That has a bit more darkness to it compared to that. Those are 2 different lenses. It's gonna be interesting to put them into the computer. Let me do video. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Okay, we're gonna transition. We're at f1.2 at 1/2000th of a second, ISO 100. No, this is good. Restart. Oh no, we're good. I wasn't ready, bro. Let's see if it acquires you quick. Hold on, let's see. So there you go for the Canon. Let's see how it catches the eye. So that's the kind of speed for the Canon. Oh, as the biker was in behind us, it kind of slowed down the Canon. You can like hear the, you can hear and feel the autofocus working. Okay, let's put on the RF here. Okay. That's definitely going in there. Okay, so here we have the RF Samyang. Still a really great picture. I gotta say, like the Samyang is super light compared to the Canon lens, the EF, but and it's also a little brighter. Well, at 1.2, but still, I think that it's like a pretty big difference. Okay, now I'm gonna see how fast it catches and loses you. Okay. That was a little slower.
Sorry, because I'm new.
No, you're good. Honestly, they're pretty comparable. Okay, so I mean, I think that's all I really wanted to do. If you guys have any more questions or you want another tutorial or a comparison of the Samyang 85-1.2, maybe we'll do a full shoot, babe, with this one of these days with the 85. But the EF, like honestly, even though the EF is adapted, you could just tell there is a quality difference between these two lenses. But for the price difference, you really could not go wrong with this lens. You get a great picture. It's a little darker, but you get a great picture, buttery background, bokeh balls all day. Let's go. All right, guys, if you guys like this content, be sure to follow me on YouTube. And, why are you looking? Follow me on Instagram at Milmid Studios. Thanks, guys. At the end of the day, don't forget to keep on shooting. We are in Lightroom right now to compare both photos. I think this is very interesting, guys. A lot of this is going to be subjective in what looks appealing to you. But you will see some of the characteristics of these lenses in this comparison. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we have the Samyang RF 85 f1.4. Remember, this is a lens that I got for $500 Canadian. On the right-hand side, we have the Canon 85 1.2. This lens I got for $1,450 Canadian. Brand new, it was about $3,000 Canadian. Brand new, the Samyang was about $900 if I remember correctly. So through this comparison, I mean, you kind of have to take the price into consideration. Does the quality difference or the difference in characteristics between these photos justify that much of a price jump? So that's one thing to consider, and I can't answer that question for you. What I will show you is on the Samyang side, the color was darker. We shot at the same settings here, f1.4, although this is a 1.2 lens. I did shoot at f1.4 just for the sake of consistency. And I noticed that the RF lens from Samyang, it was darker in character. I believe that the Samyang had a warmer tone, and you may notice that in, you know, some of the edges here. Some of the edges here, you have that more orange, yellowy, brown tone, where you didn't really get that with the Canon. The Canon, it was a bit more true to the real color. However, the color differences, the more bronze skin tones, it may not be a bad thing. It could actually be a nice aesthetic. So we're gonna look at the bokeh balls at the back here at 1.4. The Canon, to me, it sticks out more. The bokeh is more appealing to me, but that, again, is a subjective thing, right? So we're going to zoom in here. This one's a bit more pronounced here versus, look at that right there, right? But to be fair, in all fairness, if you go to the corner here, you have that more distinct and pronounced one. But you can see this streaking, whereas you don't really have that streaking in here. So different characteristics. I swing more towards the Canon in terms of aesthetics and appeal, but that may be different for you. There's really no wrong answer. We're going to go into quality. Okay, so let's look at the eye. Now, one thing to notice, to be fair, guys, is that this eye over here completely shadowed. The shadows over this eye, there's no light touching this eye. I should say no harsh light touching this eye, as opposed to the Canon here, where we have that harsh light, which is causing this chromatic aberration. From memory, I don't believe I did see chromatic aberration on the RF Samyang lens. But from my history shooting with the Canon EF 1.2, chromatic aberration is something that you do get in these photos. It can be corrected in Lightroom. as I showed in a previous video review of the EF85 1.2. But in terms of clarity, let's take a look at this other eye. And if we go over on this eye, there's no, as you can see, we have harsh light over here causing chromatic aberration. But this eye, with all things equal, you don't have that chromatic aberration. And after kind of looking at the picture, you do have more clarity on the Canon glass as opposed to the Samyang, not by a large margin. Another thing that you can tell on, between these two pictures is the skin color, as we talked about earlier. It's more of a bronze orange color here, whereas on this side it's a bit more true to reality in terms of skin color. So this can look more aesthetic depending on what you are doing or what appeals to you, but it is a difference in characteristics between these lenses. The Samyang does have a darker, more orange or warmer tone. That's what I got from this little shoot here. Let's just compare two different pictures, and I want to show you the f1.4 versus the 1.2. Okay, so again, we have the Samyang on the left-hand side and the Canon on the right. Same settings for these pictures. We're going to go back to the eye. You can see the chromatic aberration starting to form if it got any brighter, if the light was any harsher. But I want you to pay attention to the quality of the photo. Again, if you're seeing what I can see, the eyelashes really do show as more clear on the Canon. It's a little softer on the RF here. And then you see that same characteristic difference between the skin tones and the general color of the picture. We'll go over to the other eye. And yes, I'm pretty confident based on my assessment or analyzing of these photos is that the Canon, it does have the edge in terms of sharpness. And over here on this side, you can really see the difference in the skin tone or just the general tones and colors that come out of these cameras, or these lenses, I should say. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to show the RF 1.4 on this side and the Canon EF 1.2 being shot, as you can see here, at 1.2. Look at the bokeh, like on this side. Just look how smooth and beautiful that is. That's really appealing to me. We're going to zoom into the eye again on the RF, the eye on the EF. In terms of clarity, these look pretty much the same in terms of softness and general clarity. I think it's actually a little closer. I'm just looking at the airs right now. You can kind of see this darker outline. You got a little bit of chromatic on this side. It's just really interesting to look at these differences. Like, look at the edges. Check this out. See this like haze over here? And then it is sharper here, but you do get that green tinge. What do you guys think? On the left, we have the Samyang. On the right, we have the Canon. Is that a big enough difference to justify the price jump? You tell me. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you guys have any questions about both of these lenses, please feel free to leave them in the comment box. I would also like your assessment as to the comparison. What do you think about the difference between these lenses, one being an off-brand, one being a Canon lens? I would have to say, guys, that the Samyang has proven itself to be a very good budget lens. I personally believe that the Canon is more appealing out of camera, raw. I believe it's a sharper lens. It is a brighter lens, and the colors are just more true to reality over the Samyang. But I must say, for the price of the Samyang, that's a win, and I'm really happy to have access to that lens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like the content, and also check me out on Instagram at MilMidStudios. Thanks, guys.